Hi friends, I'm Maira, bringing you this video as part of Archer and Olive's ambassador team, and you can find me on social media as Vial Designs. I don't know about you, but from personal experience, when life gets chaotic, the first thing we usually drop is our own self-care. And I learned time and time and again, sometimes the hard way, that you really can pour from an empty cup. I know you've probably been there too, feeling totally stressed out, but having zero mental energy left to figure it out how to actually feel better. And that's why today we'll be building what I like to call the Joy Blueprint. It's basically a self-care bullet journal page designed to help you remove the mental load and give you a go-to list of proven activities that will help you recharge. Before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Archer and Olive channel, right? Grab your journal, your favorite pen, and let's get started. I'm going to be using my diary journal from Archer and Olive, and let's just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful this notebook is. This is from the September 2025 subscription box, The Wondrous Skies, and I just love all the stars, moon, and the holographic border here. I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate this notebook because I love it so much. So I already sketched part of the Joy Blueprint, but don't worry, to make it easier for you to follow along, I turned this into a printable you can grab from the blog post, and the link will be in the description down below. Also, quick reminder, if you want to get any of the notebooks or any of the tools from Archer and Olive that you're going to be seeing here today, you can use my code VD10 to save 10% and your purchase, get some amazing stationery and support me as well. One thing that I like to do once I'm done with the sketching part is using a knitter eraser to erase most of the sketch, but it will still be visible enough for me to trace and go over it. It just makes it easier so we don't have to erase as much at the end when we are inking on or coloring. Since this is a newer notebook, I also like to put something underneath so it's more level out. My go-to is the Archer and Olive notepad. I'm also going to be using the fine tip of the calligraph brush pens to do the lettering of the Joy Blueprint title inside my bullet journal. I really love using the calligraph brush pens to do lettering inside my bullet journal, especially the fine part. Now for the title, I decided to combine modern calligraphy and my block lettering using the brush pens. If this is your first time doing calligraphy or lettering, the calligraph are really good for beginners because of their flexible tip. You can get the really thin upstrokes and thicker downstrokes. They are easier to control for beginners. I decided to go ahead and thicken the downstrokes a little bit. Lettering inside your bullet journal is meant to be slow. The slower you go, the better your strokes are going to be. If you've never done lettering or calligraphy before, there are several tutorials inside the Archer and Olive YouTube channel as well as the blog that you can check out. All of the tutorials have free printables and calligraphy practice worksheets that you can use to practice your lettering. I decided to speed up a little bit this lettering part, but make sure when you're doing your calligraphy or your lettering, you take your time, you go slow, and just enjoy the process. I'm not gonna lie, but it can be a little bit hard to do the lettering in the middle part of the notebook. And this is my first time doing this kind of spread that covers 2 pages, but I wanted it to be big enough and have big lettering and floral doodles. For the floral doodles, I'm using the Right Tech Fine Line pen to outline everything. I usually like to have 2 different sizes. This one here is the 03 and a smaller size to add details at the end. And one of the main reasons that I decided to create this self-care page inside my journal is because sometimes one of the hardest part of self-care is remembering what actually makes you feel better because you're already stressed out and depleted. So having a dedicated page can help you with the mental load of deciding what to do. Now, if you are seeing these flower doodles and this is something that you would like to learn more about, be sure to check out my previous tutorial with Archer and Olive because in it I showed you step by step how to make these flower doodles, and I also gave you a free printable that you can use to practice. This is how it's looking so far, and now we're gonna start adding the buckets that make up the joy blueprint. So the first thing that I wanted to include in my joy blueprint is journaling, because it is so important. When you write down your problems, it doesn't make them go away, but it makes them smaller than you and smaller than you make them to be in your head. Journaling acts as an external hard drive for your brain. By moving your thoughts into paper, you free up your mental space. If you never tried journaling before, I definitely recommend it, especially when you are super stressed out and you want more clarity. Writing things down on paper can also help you process your emotions. I could talk all day about all the benefits of journaling, but don't overthink it. Just set aside 5 minutes a day, grab a piece of paper, and write what comes to your mind. Moving on to the second thing that I wanted to include in my joy blueprint is, of course, joy amplifiers. Joy amplifiers are basically things that brings you joy. Activities like painting, coloring, doodling, calligraphy, lettering, anything that helps you go into a flow state. Being in a flow state is like being in the zone. So that feeling that you get when you're so involved into doing something that you forget to check your phone, you don't hear the background, you can mute your head, all the things that are going on around you, you can mute all of that and just concentrate on what you're doing. Something else that can help you with your mental state is reading. And whether it's a chapter from a novel or a devotional, getting lost in the words that you're reading can shift your mood. And it's definitely the cheapest way to travel or escape when you feel trapped in your current mood. I never thought of myself as a reader until a couple of years ago, where I started reading fantasy and romance. Maybe you need to change what you're reading right now. I used to only read self-help, and it used to take me months to finish a book, and now I can finish one in a couple of days. So I'll definitely recommend that you give reading a try. The next thing that I have here is meditation. Honestly, I didn't used to be big into meditation before until I was able to do it consistently for 10 minutes for 30 days. Now, I can see the difference between the days that I don't meditate and the days that I do. So there is definitely so many benefits of meditating. It's like a workout for your mind that makes you more resilient to stress even when you're not meditating. Meditating doesn't have to take you a long time. Even just 5 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Now that I finished this part, I'm gonna go ahead and color it, and for that I'm gonna be using the Enchanted Chapters calligraph pens. What I like about this is that it has all the color names in the back, and it also comes with stickers that you can add to the pens, which I already did. Now you can use whatever colors you have available. One thing that I do recommend before you start coloring is that you swatch your pens, so that you know exactly how the colors are going to look before you actually start coloring your page. So once I was done with the coloring, I decided to add a little bit of details and shading to the inside of the flowers. This part is totally optional, but I just think it adds a little bit of dimension and more details to the flower doodles. Now for the left part of my joy blueprint, I'm going to be using Archer & Olive's craft knife to try something different. So for this, I'm putting a cutting mat to protect the other pages, and I'm going to be cutting around the doodle that I did here, leaving a little bit of an outline. I always want to give credit when credit is due, and I saw something similar from Living Letter Plans as I was looking for inspiration and how I wanted to lay out my joy blueprint. Another thing that's making me really happy is this craft knife, because it's helping me get my vision into reality. Now that I was able to outline and cut everything, I'm going to be using a page from the Archer and Olive notepad. It's not only for support. I do need to cut it a little bit, so I'm measuring just to make sure that the page is gonna cover everything. Next, using the glue tape, I'm gonna apply enough so that the page is gonna be well put in here, and I'm also applying the glue to the cutout piece, and I'm putting a scrap piece of paper in there just to make sure that it won't mess up the rest of the page. And I don't know about you, but I just love how the craft paper looks in contrast with the white and the floral doodle. So thank you to Living Letter Plants for giving me this idea. Now it's time to add the rest of the buckets that are gonna be part of the Joy Blueprint. And that is being grateful. Being grateful or having a gratitude practice, it can help you rewire the brain's negativity bias, because gratitude isn't about ignoring the bad, but it's about noticing the good that is already there. And right along with practicing gratitude, another thing that you should be focusing on is in noticing the quick wins. I know it's really hard for us to notice the good things that we do because sometimes they seem super small, but recognizing small wins triggers dopamine, which is the hormone that makes you feel good. And small successes build up the momentum that you need to tackle even bigger tasks. The next important bucket is movement and hydration. Did you know that your brain is mostly water? So even when you are a little bit dehydrated, your brain tissue can actually shrink a tiny bit, which is where the heavy brain fog comes from. So drinking water isn't just about health, it's about giving your brain the literal space it needs to think about and stay calm. The same goes for movement. If you're stuck in a funk, don't try to think your way out of it, move your way out of it. Moving your body is the fastest way to burn off stress hormones like cortisol that get stuck in your system. So even a 5-minute stretch tells your nervous system that you're safe and that it is okay to finally relax. And this goes hand in hand with being in nature. Whenever you feel like your brain has too many tabs open, just get outside. Even 5 minutes of green time, like looking at trees or grass, is proven to lower your heart rate and settle your nervous system. And this is how our Joy Blueprint, aka the self-care spread, is looking. Now I'm gonna go ahead and write down a couple of the points that I already discussed here in the video, just so that I can have a reminder of why it is important to do each of these things daily, or simply to have options of things that I can do when I'm feeling low or my brain is not working properly, something that I can go to improve my mood or my mental health. And remember that the free printable is available for you. Be sure to check the description down below. Let me know if this was helpful. Also, I would love to know if there is something that you usually go to improve your mood. Let me know in the comments. We can help each other with other ideas of things that you like to do, something that can bring you joy. Share it in the comments. And here's the final result, how the Joy Blueprint turned out in my journal. It really brings me so much joy to look at it, to look at the colors, the floral doodles, and also to have a reminder of the things that I can do for my mental health. I really hope that this spread gives you a little pocket of peace inside your journal. Remember that the goal of the Joy Blueprint is to remind you that you have the power to influence how you feel. And by having these tools and reminders, you are prepared for when those heavy days come. Remember that by dedicating even just a small corner in your bullet journal for your well being, you are sending a powerful message to yourself that you are worth the effort. If you made it into this part of the video, be sure to comment with purple heart so I know that you're one of the real ones that watch the whole video, and I'm so happy you're here. Also, if you create your own joy blueprint, I would love to see it. Please tag me at Vial Designs and also Archer and Olive. We would love to see how you make self-care a priority. Thank you so much for watching and for being here, and I will see you in the next video tutorial. Bye friends.